The world's most advanced cargo jet just took flight, and it's not Boeing. While everyone's been obsessing over passenger aircraft and the latest airline drama, Airbus has been quietly engineering what could be the most significant disruption in air freight since the introduction of the Boeing 777 freighter. But here's the thing that'll shock you. The A350F isn't just competing with Boeing's cargo giants, it's systematically designed to make them obsolete. And we're going to prove that in the next 24 minutes. But first, let me ask you something. When was the last time you heard about a cargo plane that could single-handedly change how global trade moves around the planet? Because that's exactly what we're dealing with here. And the three major airlines that just placed massive orders for this aircraft know something that the rest of the aviation world is sleeping on. Let's start with what we're actually looking at here. The Airbus A350F, officially designated the A350-1000F, isn't just another cargo plane with a big door slapped on the side. This is a purpose-built freight hauler that leverages everything Airbus learned from developing the most advanced passenger aircraft in their fleet. Now here's where it gets interesting. Unlike Boeing's approach of converting passenger aircraft into freighters, which, don't get me wrong, works, Airbus built the A350F from the ground up as a dedicated cargo hauler. We're talking about a clean sheet design that prioritizes freight efficiency over passenger comfort. The numbers are staggering. We're looking at a cargo volume of 858 cubic meters. That's enough space to fit roughly 140 standard shipping pallets, or about 109 tons of cargo. But volume is just part of the story. What really matters in the freight world isn't just how much you can carry, it's how far you can take it, how efficiently you can burn fuel getting there, and increasingly, how clean you can do it. And this is where those three airlines I mentioned earlier, Air France Cargo, CMA CGM Air Cargo, and Singapore Airlines Cargo, saw something that made them commit billions of dollars to an aircraft that hadn't even flown yet. Air France Cargo didn't just dip their toe in the water. They ordered 4 A350Fs with options for 4 more. CMA CGM Air Cargo went bigger with 4 firm orders plus 8 options. But Singapore Airlines Cargo? They made a statement with 7 firm orders. These aren't small regional carriers taking a gamble. These are major players betting their cargo operations on Airbus's vision. But before we dive into why these airlines are so confident, we need to understand what they're replacing and why the timing couldn't be more perfect. Right now, the cargo world is dominated by 2 Boeing heavyweights, and understanding their strengths and weaknesses is crucial to appreciating what Airbus is trying to accomplish. First up, we have the Boeing 777 freighter, the current champion of long-haul cargo. This beast has been the go-to choice for airlines that need to move substantial amounts of freight across intercontinental routes. With a maximum payload of about 103 tons and a range of roughly 9,200 kilometers, the 777F has been the backbone of cargo operations for airlines like FedEx, Emirates Sky Cargo, and Qatar Cargo. The 777F's success comes from its sweet spot positioning. It's large enough to handle major freight loads, but not so massive that it's limited to only the biggest airports. Plus, Boeing's production line has been churning these out for years, creating a mature, well-understood platform that airlines trust. Then we have the Boeing 747-8 freighter, the absolute unit of cargo aviation. This 4-engine giant can haul up to 140 tons of cargo over distances of about 8,130 kilometers. When you absolutely positively need to move the maximum amount of stuff, the 747-8F has been the answer. But here's the problem with the 747-8F. It's expensive to operate, it's getting older, and there's a specific regulatory hammer coming down in 2027 that's going to make some airlines seriously reconsider their 4-engine strategies. The cargo market has been crying out for a solution that bridges the gap between these two extremes. Airlines want the range and capacity of the 747-8F, but with the operational efficiency of the 777F. More importantly, they want an aircraft that can handle the exploding growth in e-commerce and just-in-time manufacturing that's driving freight demand through the roof. According to Boeing's own World Air Cargo forecast, we're looking at a 4% annual growth rate in air cargo demand over the next 20 years. That means the global cargo fleet needs to nearly double. But here's the kicker. Airlines don't just want more of the same old aircraft. They want planes that can operate profitably on routes that are currently marginal or impossible. And this brings us to where Airbus saw their opportunity and why the A350F isn't just competing with Boeing's offerings. It's designed to make them look outdated. Let's talk about what makes the A350F genuinely revolutionary, starting with the foundation, the A350-1000 platform itself. Airbus didn't just take a passenger plane and gut it. They redesigned the entire fuselage structure to optimize for cargo operations. The main deck cargo door is massive, 3.71 meters wide and 2.59 meters high, which means loading and unloading operations are significantly faster than competitors. Time is money in the cargo world, and every minute saved on the ground translates directly to operational efficiency. But the real engineering marvel is in the details. The A350F uses the same carbon fiber reinforced plastic fuselage as the passenger version, which means it's both lighter and stronger than traditional aluminum construction. This isn't just about weight savings, though the A350F is roughly 7 tons lighter than a comparable 777F. It's about durability and fatigue resistance over decades of operation. Now let's talk numbers, because in aviation, numbers don't lie. Maximum payload, 109 tons. That puts it right between the 777F at 103 tons and the 747-8F at 140 tons. But here's where it gets interesting. Range with maximum payload is about 7,400 kilometers. With a reduced payload of about 90 tons, the A350F can fly up to 9,000 kilometers. What this means in practical terms is game-changing. The A350F can operate efficiently on routes where the 777F is payload limited, and routes where the 4748F is simply overkill. More importantly, it can open up entirely new route possibilities that weren't economically viable before. But here's the number that really matters: fuel efficiency. The A350F burns approximately 25% less fuel per ton of cargo than the 747-8F, and about 10 to 15% less than the 777F on comparable routes. In an industry where fuel represents 30 to 40% of operating costs, that's not just an improvement. That's a competitive advantage that pays dividends every single flight. The A350F comes with the most advanced avionics package in commercial aviation. We're talking about the same fly-by-wire system that's proven itself in thousands of passenger operations, but optimized for cargo operations. The flight management system is integrated with cargo loading computers, meaning the aircraft automatically calculates optimal trim and balance based on actual cargo weight and distribution. This isn't just about safety, though it absolutely improves safety margins. It's about fuel efficiency and performance optimization on every single flight. But technology and efficiency numbers are just part of the story. Remember that regulatory hammer I mentioned earlier? That's where the A350F's timing becomes absolutely perfect. Here's something most people don't realize is coming. In 2027, the International Civil Aviation Organization is implementing new noise and emission standards that are going to fundamentally change the economics of cargo operations. The ICAO 2027 standards aren't just guidelines, they're mandatory compliance requirements that will restrict or ban non-compliant aircraft from many airports around the world. And guess what? A significant portion of the current cargo fleet, particularly older four-engine aircraft, are going to struggle to meet these standards. Major cargo hubs like London Heathrow, Frankfurt, Amsterdam Schiphol, and even some airports in Asia are already implementing stricter noise regulations ahead of the 2027 deadline. Airlines operating non-compliant aircraft are facing reduced operating windows, higher landing fees, or outright restrictions. The A350F was designed from day one to not just meet, but exceed these 2027 standards. Its twin-engine configuration with the latest Rolls-Royce Trent XWB engines produces significantly lower noise levels than four-engine competitors. More importantly, the engines meet the most stringent emissions standards currently proposed for the next decade. Let's talk about the environmental elephant in the room. The aviation industry is under intense pressure to reduce its carbon footprint, and cargo operations are a significant part of that equation. The A350F produces approximately 40% lower CO2 emissions per ton of cargo compared to the 747-8F and about 15% lower than the 777F. In a world where carbon taxes are becoming reality and environmental regulations are tightening, these aren't just nice-to-have improvements. They're business necessities. But here's the forward-thinking part. The A350F is certified to operate on up to 50% sustainable aviation fuel blends right now, with plans for 100% SAF compatibility in the near future. As SAF production scales up and costs come down, early adopters of SAF-compatible aircraft will have significant competitive advantages. Now, all of these technical and regulatory advantages are impressive on paper, but the real proof of the A350F's revolutionary potential is in how it's changing the way major airlines think about their cargo networks. Let's start with Air France Cargo because their A350F order represents a fundamental shift in European cargo strategy. Air France Cargo currently operates a mixed fleet of 777EFs and converted passenger aircraft for their long-haul cargo operations. Their decision to order 4 A350Fs with options for 4 more isn't just fleet renewal, it's fleet optimization for routes that were previously marginal or impossible. According to Air France Cargo's management, the A350F will enable them to serve secondary cargo markets in Asia and North America that couldn't support the operating costs of their current fleet. We're talking about routes like Paris to Bangalore, Paris to Nashville, or Paris to secondary Chinese cities that have growing manufacturing bases but limited cargo airlift. The key insight here is that the A350F's efficiency allows profitable operations at cargo volumes that would be loss-making with traditional freighters. This opens up entirely new market opportunities and revenue streams. CMA CGM Air Cargo represents something entirely different. A shipping giant expanding into aviation to create integrated logistics solutions. CMA CGM isn't just buying cargo planes, they're building an integrated sea-air network where ocean shipping and air cargo work together to optimize global supply chains. The A350F's efficiency and range make it perfect for connecting CMA CGM's ocean hubs with inland destinations that need faster delivery than sea freight can provide. This is revolutionary because it represents the convergence of ocean and air logistics. Instead of competing transportation modes, CMA CGM is creating complementary networks where the A350F handles time-sensitive, high-value cargo while their ships handle bulk commodities. Singapore Airlines. Cargo's 7 aircraft order might be the most strategically important of all because it signals how the A350F fits into the explosive growth of Asian cargo markets. Singapore's position as a cargo hub for Southeast Asia, India, and Australia makes it perfect for demonstrating the A350F's capabilities. With 7 aircraft, Singapore Airlines Cargo can create a comprehensive network covering routes that were previously served by less efficient aircraft, or not served at all. Remember earlier when I mentioned routes that were previously marginal or impossible? Singapore Airlines. Cargo's A350F network will include direct services to secondary Indian cities, Indonesian islands, and Australian regional centers that couldn't support traditional freighter operations but have growing manufacturing and consumer bases. But airlines can order all the advanced aircraft they want. If airports can't handle them, none of this matters. Here's something most people don't think about. Introducing a new cargo aircraft requires significant airport infrastructure adaptations, and the airports that move fastest will have competitive advantages. The A350F requires specific ground support equipment, cargo handling systems, and maintenance facilities. But here's the smart part of Airbus's design strategy. Most of the ground support equipment is compatible with existing A350 passenger operations, which reduces the infrastructure investment for airports that already handle A350s. Paris Charles de Gaulle is making substantial investments to support Air France Cargo's A350F operations. We're talking about dedicated cargo terminals, specialized loading equipment, and maintenance hangars sized for the A350F's dimensions. But CDG's investment goes beyond just handling Air France's aircraft. They're positioning themselves as the European hub for A350F operations, expecting other airlines to choose CDG for their European cargo networks, specifically because of the infrastructure investments. Singapore Changi Airport isn't just adapting for the A350F. They're expanding their entire cargo operation around next-generation freighters. Their new cargo terminal complex is specifically designed to handle the A350F's loading characteristics and turnaround requirements. What's brilliant about Changi's approach is that they're not just building for today's requirements. They're building for the cargo volumes and efficiency demands of the next 2 decades. The A350F is just the first aircraft they're preparing for. All of this infrastructure investment and airline commitment comes down to one fundamental question. Will the A350F actually deliver on its promises? Let's be brutally honest about what we're looking at here. The A350F has the potential to do to cargo aviation what the A320neo did to narrow-body passenger operations, completely reset the competitive landscape. Current projections suggest that if the A350F delivers on its performance promises, it could capture 25 to 30% of the long-haul cargo market within a decade. That might not sound revolutionary, but in an industry where Boeing has dominated for decades, that's a seismic shift. More importantly, the A350F is arriving at exactly the right time. A significant portion of the global cargo fleet is approaching retirement age, and airlines need to replace these aircraft with something more efficient, more compliant, and more capable. Here's something airlines think about that passengers never consider: residual value. When you're spending $300+ million on an aircraft, you need to know it'll retain value over its 20 to 30-year operational life. The A350F's advanced technology, fuel efficiency, and regulatory compliance position it for strong residual values. Airlines buying A350Fs today can expect these aircraft to remain competitive and valuable throughout their operational lives, which isn't necessarily true for older generation freighters. Boeing isn't standing still, of course. They're developing upgrades to the 777F and considering new cargo aircraft designs. But here's the strategic challenge Boeing faces. They need to respond to the A350F without cannibalizing their existing cargo aircraft sales. By the time Boeing can bring a next-generation cargo aircraft to market, the A350F will have established itself in the market and proven its operational capabilities. First-mover advantage matters in aviation, and Airbus has it. So where does all of this leave us? The Airbus A350F represents more than just another cargo aircraft. It's a fundamental shift in how the aviation industry thinks about freight operations. By combining advanced materials, efficient engines, and smart design, Airbus has created an aircraft that doesn't just compete with existing options. It redefines what's possible. We're looking at an aircraft that can profitably serve routes that were previously uneconomical, meet environmental regulations that will ground older aircraft, and provide operational flexibility that airlines desperately need in an uncertain world. But perhaps, most importantly, the A350F proves that there's still room for genuine innovation in commercial aviation. While everyone's been focused on passenger aircraft and urban air mobility, Airbus quietly engineered a solution to problems the cargo industry didn't even fully recognize yet. And that brings us to why this matters for everyone watching this video. If you found this deep dive into the A350F as fascinating as I did researching it, definitely smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're building a community of aviation enthusiasts who want to go beyond the surface level coverage you'll find everywhere else. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on this. Do you think the A350F will actually deliver on all these promises, or is this just marketing hype? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And here's a specific question for you. What's your favorite cargo aircraft of all time? I'm genuinely curious to see what you choose and why. If you've ever flown on an Airbus aircraft, A320, A330, A350, A380, doesn't matter which one, give this video a thumbs up. I want to see how many Airbus fans we have in this community. If you want more fascinating facts about aviation, click on the next video right here for another deep dive into the world of aircraft and aerospace technology.